This again. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody just calls me Ciotti, and I think the microphone is now working. Hey, yeah, there we go. Had to restart the stream there. I should be able to delete the one, whatever. Tonight is Quaranstream number 16. We are off the rails already. 16 days straight of streaming. Could you guys ever believe I'd be able to do that? I certainly didn't. Let's get it going. Tonight we're gonna finish up an edit that I'm working on for the Emax Tinyhawk Race 2 review stream that I'm gonna do maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. So we're gonna finish that edit in Premiere real quick here, and then I'm gonna hop over to the bench and we're gonna finish up the CB3. I did a little tiny bit of work off stream last night and this morning. And so we can basically just zip tie a couple things down. I can show you guys how, I can show you guys my little tiny micro version of Steel's Immortal L antenna setup that I also run. That'll be kind of cool. And then throw the top plate on, we'll throw it into Betaflight, get it all set up, and wrap this thing up. I want to watch another episode of Westworld tonight, so I'm going to try to wrap this up before midnight. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get into it. First off, let's take a look at the chat, and it's pretty much filled up with people saying, no audio, you dummy, what are you doing? And then me restarting the stream. Stephen Rossi is in there, YouTube, and Nathaniel LaBouffe, Yapsy FPV, Naughty Soul Girl, Doc Murdoch is here. I'm probably going to miss a couple folks, but I didn't do the participant list thing. Dr. Fixit FPV is in the house. YouTube and again. Ken Hill, The Bros, Techno FPV, Pedro Tomei, LCV FPV, Thurberg 2500, Market Zero, some repeats, BH Hifting, or no, BH Hitting. I thought it was hitting. Stephen Rossi is here. Rob Axelson is here. Stephen Rossi is also here. I think that's about it. Oh, no, here we go. There's a bunch more. Athix, Ken Hill, Zachary S., Wilder FPV, Twin Turbo Stang, Rob Axelson, Doc Murdoch, Pedro Tomei. Now I'm starting to repeat. J-Bo FPV, and one more. Pesky FPV. Got to make sure I got Pesky in there. It is 3 a.m. where Pesky is. Yikes. Yeah, get to sleep, dude. Don't watch me. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Rob Axelson got the broken UART, USB and UART issue figured out. Awesome. And all right, let's jump in. Hit me with the questions, but make sure you tag me at CiottiFPV. Our comments that are aimed at me. And then if you guys are just talking to each other, Lava Lamp's going to stay off because I don't feel like standing up because I just don't feel like standing up. I don't know. You don't get an explanation with everything. I'm kind of cramped over in the corner a little bit because I've made quite the mess over here with shrink wrap. So I'm trying to kind of stay in the frame a little bit. So yeah, at CiottiFPV, and then type your comment if you want to talk to me. And then if you just type into the chat, you're talking to the other folks in the chat. Everybody remember the chat comes with this video. These videos do get, these live streams rather, do get rewatched quite a bit. So you guys are here with me. I'm just the one with the camera pointed at me. Cool? Let's get into it. Many things down here in the description. Link to the Patreon page. Would love to have you over there. It'll also get you entered into at least 4 to 12 giveaways a month. So check that out. And CiottiFPV can be found on... Why am I talking about myself in the third person? Very strange. I just worded that weird. Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, and of course on Patreon. So look me up. Send me nice messages. Send me mean messages. Send me questions about micros. Send me questions about 5-inch rigs, whatever you want. Cool. Let's dig in. Let's hop into Premiere, and we're going to finish this edit up. Let's get... Spotify stopped here, and let me just show you guys where I'm at so far. The transitions aren't rendered all the way yet, so they're gonna get a little blocky, and the quality is shit. But this is non-HD coming straight from the Nano FPV cam, so the quality isn't great anyway. So here you guys go. And, oh, nope, one more thing. So it's basically going to be a two-part review. That was the example of flying it small, where I think it's meant to be flown. And then this is an example of what it does when you fly somewhere big, like a 5-inch spot. Just to kind of give that, sense of what it can and can't do. Here you guys go. Enjoy. There it be. That's where I'm kind of at now. I guess I need to stop the music, huh? So that's where we're at now. In case anybody hasn't seen it, this is what the Tinyhawk 2 race looks like. The long and short of the review is going to be that I really like it. It's like less than 120 bucks. The ratio of power to weight to prop size is really is very well balanced, and yeah, it just works, man. It just really flies well. I was very shocked at how good this thing flies for a bind and fly, and yeah, I've just been having a blast flying it. Unfortunately, the receiver on the AIO board seems to have let go at complete random. So I have one of the tiny little D8 Emax receivers coming, and luckily on the AIO board they have pads so that you can do that, so that you can run an external receiver. So yeah, I'll do that and get it back up in the air because, again, I really dig flying this little thing. Highly recommended. Look out for the review video possibly tomorrow or Thursday. And then there'll be another Emax review video coming up as well. I think maybe on the 22nd? And I gotta look the date up. But it's coming. So let's finish this edit. What do you guys think? Where'd that chat window go? Chat window, where are you? There you are. Alright, so let's get the chat window over here so that I can work on the right monitor. And... Alright, too many people are asking for the lava lamp to be turned on, so I'll turn it on! Alright, you happy? You happy now? I expect a super chat for doing that. Somebody super chat me $1 for turning on the lava lamp. Alright, cool. So let me pull up the monitor view with me down in the corner, and let me actually move myself over here because I'm mainly going to be using the timeline here just to kind of wrap this edit up. So, alright, let's dig in. Actually, let me get caught up on the chat real quick, because I wasn't looking at it when that was playing. Doc Murdoch says, sun just went down here in southern New Mexico. Glad you have made 16 streams so far. Good job. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, Doc. And I'm very, very jealous that that the sun is going down in southern New Mexico where you are right now, because I know that I've been in New Mexico, and man, it is just so gorgeous. My Uncle Vince and Aunt Judy they have a house in Florida and a house in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it's just beautiful. There it is, Wilder with $2 for the lava lamp. I should force you guys. I should always start the streams with the lava lamp off, and you guys have to super chat for me to turn it on. Awesome. All right. Thanks for that, brother. What else do we have? Zachary S. Is the Tiny Whoop, great. Is the Tinyhawk Race 2 a good first quad that's not a Tiny Whoop? Yes, Zachary S. I'm actually going to talk about that in the review. That's really what I think this thing is going to sort of be best for. My very first rig was an Emax Baby Hawk, which was all white plastic frame, sort of the similar theory behind this. Simple center-mounted camera. It's sort of like the toothpick style, right? But it was on a 2.3-inch prop, and it was heavier, but it was a perfect starter rig. It was simple, it was cheap, it kind of flew right out of the box. There wasn't a whole lot of screwing around with it I had to do, and I probably put 1,000+ batteries through that thing, just, spending time on the stick. So, yeah, that's really what I think this is going to be best for. But as somebody who's been flying for a long time, I'm having a blast with it. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that really sells it for me is this. It's got this double PH 2.0 connector on it, so it's the perfect sort of companion to Tiny Whoops. Like, at night, if I charge up a whole bunch of Tiny Whoop batteries to fly around here and I don't get them all discharged down, I'll just wake up the next day and throw them in this, because they'll work on the double, two of Beta FPV 300 1S, or you know what flies really good in this are the Newbie Drone Nitro Nectars. 2 of those in here fucking rips. They give you these 1S 450 mAh batteries, which are great, and then GNB has some 300 mAh batteries with the little pigtails, and they work great as well. But as a companion for Tiny Whoops, this thing is awesome. So yeah, I think those are the 2 really, really interesting uses for this thing. It's also kind of cool that it's never going to have HD. You just kind of can't put HD in this thing. It doesn't have a standard bolt pattern for the flight for the AIO board. So this is it. And I kind of like that, because it's just this. This is all it is, right? you can't really upgrade much other than maybe the motors and the receiver. I guess you could put a different camera in it, but it's just gonna be this like DVR only simple toothpick style thing, and I like that. For me, that's that's kind of nice because if it's a possibility to put HD on a rig, I'm gonna put it on there, and there isn't a way to do that on here without changing everything pretty much. So for me, that's kind of nice that it just forces me to just relax and fly it for it. I tend to not even look at the DVR from it. So all right, let's get back to the chat and get some scrolling. Rob Axelson got the broken USB new art issue figured out. Awesome. Zachary, we took care of that. Duck Murdoch. All right, we took care of that. And Wilder says, been waiting to fly that spot for over a month now. My recommendation would be to wait longer. It is an extremely unforgiving spot, and it is also a spot with a lot going on, and there are every so often people kind of floating around there. So, yeah, that is like a really, really high sort of skill level required spot. So just give it as much time as you possibly can, brother. Wait towards the end of the Quaranstream because it's a good spot to to break and or lose rigs because there's a lot of weird shit going on. There's some strange RF stuff happening there, and yeah, there's just a lot. It's just a really tight, really difficult spot. Big Taters says yo. June Loco says yo. What's up? Wilder FPV says hey. Rab Axelson says have you met a quad you haven't destroyed? This one. I've crashed this one a good amount, and it's fine. I haven't blasted it into pavement or anything super hard yet, but it's just not. It's not for that. I don't know. It's just not. I don't. I kind of do that with everything I fly, but for whatever reason, I just don't fly this so hard that I'm smashing it into the pavement all the time. It's just kind of a more floaty, like. I don't know. For whatever reason, I haven't broken it, and I've broken everything else while I've been flying it. So, yeah, it's taken some shots. It's survived, and I've actually been pretty surprised at how durable it's been. So, I'm digging that. What else is going on in the chat? Let me just get totally caught up here. Big Tater started a Lava Lamp fan club. There's the $2 from Wilder FPV. Thank you, brother. Nathaniel Booth with $2 for lava as well, and Doc Murdoch with a $5 because I do such a great job with the small quads. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. I've been training for it for 3 years. Good afternoon, says 4UFPV. Experimental RC says I'm designing a front canopy for the Tiny Trainer for a mini US camera. Mini US. What's US is similar to HD. Mini HD camera. Yeah, you know, I bet you this would carry a an Insta 360. You could probably put an Insta 360 on. Actually, I think Tweet FPV might have done that already. I think he put a an Insta 360 on the bottom of this thing in the front, and it carried it just fine. Yeah, it doesn't have a ton of power, but it has enough. It doesn't feel underpowered, and it also doesn't feel overpropped, which is really nice. So yeah, it's a great flying rig. Tack is here. What's up, Tack? How are you, man? Experimental RC says I made a tiny whoop plane. It's very interesting. That's super cool. Experimental. If you're on my Patreon and or Discord, I would love to see that, man. Throw some pictures of it up in the Discord. That's another thing that's down in the description. I'm the worst streamer ever. This is a link to Discord. But if you join the Patreon, you automatically get added to Discord, and you get extra little boards and extra talk rooms and I don't know, other fun things. Last one. Rob Axelson put his Insta 360 on a Tinyhawk Freestyle and has HD. Awesome. Freelojo says you're doing great on the daily stream and keep rocking it. Thanks, brother. It's harder than I thought, but it's very fun. You guys make it very fun. Let's get this edit done. Okay, so where I left off was the beginning of this bit here. So let me just watch this real quick, see how it. I didn't really line anything up. I just sort of dropped the music on this. So let's see where we're at. Look at that float. Oh, so slow. It's so cool. Light rigs. I might chop that out of there. That's kind of fun there, though. Alright, I'm going to throw a cut in there. I do want to shorten this up a little bit. This is like 4 minutes of flying. Let me just chop it. Let me just chop it down a little. Like this. Goes with the music. Floaty. Not full throttle up the building. Nice and chill. Light was coming down. That's why it's a little bit darker than the other stuff. God, look at that float. Are you kidding me? Alright, this is probably where I want to start to cut it. And it might be right there. It might be on that split S. Yeah, because that's just yucky flying. Yucky, I said. Yeah, I'll hit it on that beat. Right there. Alright. I am using Premiere Pro Creative Cloud. Kristen and I have the full suite because she is a wonderfully talented graphic designer, and I do used to do freelance photography. Haven't done it in a long time, but I use Lightroom a good amount. I used to. I haven't used it all that much lately. It's been mainly Premiere, but yeah, we get a good amount of use out of the Adobe suite, which makes it worth it. So let's see what we're gonna chunk out here. Doc Murdoch asks what music service you're using and what is your preferred genre of music. I am an OG musician. My parents put me into private drum lessons at about 9 years old with a phenomenally talented jazz drummer named Tony DiNicola from New Jersey. And I took drum lessons I took private lessons all up until high school, I want to say. And then I just kept going with it. I did as much music as I could all through university. Chickened out of being a music major because I didn't think at the time I would ever want to teach kids, which if you're going to pursue music, it's a very real possibility that you're going to end up a music teacher in a school. And I just didn't think I would enjoy that. So I never really pursued it, but growing up with that much of a music background, like, there's no preferred genre. It's just everything but country. Gotta make sure there's that distinction in there. That's important. But yeah, I listen to absolutely everything and anything. If I had to pick like a couple genres, I guess classic rock. I've forced myself to listen to a lot of dance music ever since I started flying 3 years ago, just so that I would have music for edits. And I've not fallen in love with it, but I do really enjoy it. So I guess like classic rock, dance-ish stuff, and indie rock as well. Although the indie rock scene hasn't been the same since like the early 2000s, but that's a whole different tangent that I could spend all night bullshitting about. And what was the other question? The other question was... what music service are you using? I'm actually using Spotify. I pay for Spotify every month to not have the commercials, and Spotify has some royalty-free music on there. So I find it, use that to shuffle and listen through, find stuff I like, SoundCloud, download them, and I've just started doing that recently. These last like 2 or 3 streams are now monetized because I want to see what happens with that. So this is kind of a new thing for me. Yep, that'll work there. Looking straight down. All right, so we're going to be looking straight down, so what can we mix that in with? All right, that's kind of a cool little backwards climb. Maybe I'll do something with that. Yeah, I'll do something with that little backwards climb there. Or I could just chop this whole section out. You know what? I'm going to chop this whole fucking section out. Anything that's not amazing, just get rid of it. That is... If you ask me for tips on video editing, I'm only going to give you that one tip, because that one tip will take you, like, for... you can follow that one tip for the next 2 or 3 years, and it'll it'll be the most important thing that you do. Cut everything. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool, but and then the dive is like, meh. Yeah, so we're going to chop this whole shit out. We'll do ripple delete, and that way it maintains the spacing of all the tracks. But what we want to remember is now I've got to... How do I do this? I ripple delete this because that's that last little piece. And then I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Chop it. Pull this guy back. And I got to apply this base preset to that guy. And that should fix the transition, hopefully. Or it won't render and I won't be able to tell if it's fixed it or not. Oh, 13-year-old computer. You son of a bitch, you. It doesn't help that I'm trying to do this while OBS is running. Let me let that crunch, and I'll take a look at the chat here. Let's come off of there. I made a tiny whoop plane. It's very interesting. Here we go. Experimental RC. Put it in the Discord so you guys can go check it out. Music service, we got that. Rob Axelson stopped sending Adobe money every month. Wilder FPV, how much do I have to pay you to edit a video for me? It depends on how good you want it to be. Basically, it's $40 an hour. I typically, like, a normal HD edit for me is 4 or 5 hours of work. I mean, if you told me to put 2 hours of work in, I would. And I would figure out how to get it done. But just, you know, to give you some idea, this edit here, I've probably got about 2 hours in, to give you some idea. All that being said, I don't think I would take on any of that work right now, just because I'm too backed up with everything else. But if I were to, it would be $40 an hour, because that's the lowest rate that I can really go for it to be kind of worth my time, with how much other shit that I have going on. I sort of value my free time at that. If somebody's willing to give me $40 an hour, I will sacrifice some free time for that. But right now, there is no free time. So kind of is what it is. But yeah. JWFPV, I really enjoy flying the Race 2, but the RC range is not the greatest. Do you think the small Emax receiver that you ordered is best, or should I just look at an XSR, RXSR, worried about size? JW, if you want range, do the RXSR. It's going to give you diversity. I was actually pretty happy with the range on this thing. I mean, that was a big-ass building. You can see how much interference there is with how shit the video is going. Yeah, I mean, I did reroute the antenna a little bit. Let me show you this. I guess this could be helping. I don't know how you've got yours routed, but one of the first things I did to this was take the receiver antenna and run it out the back here in off the rear standoff with just a little zip tie and some shrink wrap on it. So with the antenna here, I've not had any fail safes. I mean, I've not tried to push it half a mile out or anything. But hey, maybe try putting your antenna there, and you'll get a little bit more RF performance, or just go with an RXSR. An RXSR is going to give you great range. I've pushed RSSRs out about a mile or so, and yeah, they get a little latent, but so does anything when you go that far away. So yeah, RxSR, or just try to mount your antenna differently. I wouldn't bother with the Emax receiver. It's not going to give you any more performance, I don't think, than what's built in. Might as well go to something with diversity, right? And then, so in terms of space, where would the RxSR go in here? Maybe don't go with an RxSR, because it might not fit. Let me take a quick look. I should have one floating around in here somewhere, or not. I think I just put it in this CB3 rig. Do I really not have any more RxSRs floating around? Hold on. I have to. Yeah, there's one. Let me see. It might slide right in the back there. Before I go giving you recommendations, I should make sure that... Yeah, okay. So it'll slide right in there. It'll slide right in the back there. It'll kind of cover up the USB port, but whatever. You can just move it when you need to plug into USB. And then what you could do with the diversity antennas is run them right out to the arms, and then just like I did with the receiver antenna, put a little zip tie up on the arm here and shrink wrap it in the zip tie, and that'll put each antenna out like that on each arm, and that'll give you a good 90-degree-ish coverage, which will defeat any any nulls that you're getting from the ends of the antennas. So, yeah, if you want the ultimate in range, RxSR all day, every day. But I would say try getting your antenna out there a little bit more first to see if that improves it. Okay. Freelojo thinks Tiny's makes a sled for Tinyhawk stuff. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. All right, Doc Murdoch has a challenge for me. Create a 3D 2.5-inch so you can do some Zoe FPV style flying in the small realm. I have no... So the very first quad I ever had was 3D, and I tried pretty hard to learn that. It just doesn't work. It does not work in my brain. Having the throttle lever centered and sprung was just impossible. I just could not figure that out. It did not work. As soon as I set it to the springless, like we run them, everything went better. So I unfortunately have no interest in 3D stuff. I love watching it, but it just doesn't compute in my brain. All right, cool. Let's get back to it. Looks like I'm caught up on the chat. I'm going to not ignore the chat, but I'm going to be focused on this. So if you have a question for me, tag me, and I'll get it when I can. Hopefully this is maybe pre-rendered. Hey, look at that. That looks good. Does it make sense, though? That's kind of annoying. I'm split-S-ing, and then I'm split-S-ing again. Oh, I know what I'll do. I will chop this and pull this down here until I'm looking straight down, and that's where we will put the cut. So now I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and apply the base preset. I should let you guys see what I'm doing. That would probably help, eh? And let's see. Well, now it's not going to be rendered for a second, but so I'm rotating down. I'm looking straight down. That's cool. I feel like I maybe want to do a rotation though. Let me drop the audio down a little bit for you guys so you don't have to suffer like I do listening to the song 700,000 times in a row. Okay. So it's rolling left. Oh, and then it's a continued roll left. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to do a rotation for this. So let's come over here. We're going to grab our 20-second adjustment layer. We're going to drop it here. We're going to come over to effects, and we're going to go spin, I don't know, clockwise. I never know which one is which, so I just try them at random. Oh, God, what happened there? Jesus. Okay. Ah, come on. So it's going this way. And then it looks like it's spinning the other way. I think I got the wrong one on there. So let's go counterclockwise. That's probably what we want. And now it's going to re-render. So we're spinning top to the left, this direction. Why is it invisible again? Stop it. Get out of there. Well, let's give it some time to render. We'll come back to it. Let's keep going here. I threw that second one back as far as I could. I was like, that was everything it had to try to get as much distance in there. Again, this is flying it in a big spot. It's really not suited for a spot like this, but if you slow down your inputs so that you're, like, so on these power loops, for example, right? If you slow down your inputs so that instead of doing the power loop at that pace, you're doing it at this pace, you'll give yourself longer when the thrust is pointing backwards to hammer the throttle and actually cover the bigger distance. So kind of, you know, trying to show you guys that it can be flown in a bigger spot. You just have to really adapt your flying. And I mean, even though it's not suited for it, it can still do it, which is, I don't know, a good thing? Sure, why not? This whole thing's fun, man. See what else we can chop out here. Transform cannot allocate buffer larger. Okay, and it's gone. Larger than 30,000 pixels. Why would it want to do that? Why is it... Why are you trying to do that, Transform? Strange. We'll keep going. Just ignore it. Nice leisurely climb up the IHG building. Dude, look at that float. It's so fun coming down slow like that. It's so different. I think that's now full throttle. I think that was full throttle up the side there. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Alright, so now we're at 3 minutes. And there's not much left. I feel like I should chop something out of there. That's a big long run, and it's kind of, I mean, it's like... Alright, let's see. It might be the beginning here. I think I might chop that beginning out. Yeah, I'm going to chop that beginning out. Just because it doesn't match the music. Okay, so we're going to be going from... under those pillars. Man, that's such a nice transition to the pillars, though, but that's okay. So, how much is that? That's 35. That's another 5-6 seconds. Ah! I'm not cutting off that much, but it's got to go. It has to go. Let's get it when we're somewhat level. We'll say there. That's good enough. Alright, so we're going to pull this in here. We're going to delete that. We're going to ripple delete this to pull everything else in. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so I guess we're doing a zoom. That's fine. C for cut. Chop it. And let's see. Base preset. Is this a zoom in or a zoom out? This is a zoom out. So the base preset is... on the left video, so we're good. It should fix itself. Did that fix itself? Yeah, I guess it did. Yep. Alright, cool. That's not bad. Yeah, now it, I'm gonna chop a tiny little bit more off, actually, so that the, so that we right here, that hit in the music is that extra little rotation in the words in the flight. That's the word, flight. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Chop a little bit more. Chop that shit up! Alright, I think that's it. Let's see. There we go. That's better. Just letting that hang and fall down the side of the building, man. Yeah, that's full throttle there up the side. Until the end. I backed the throttle off at the end. And I chickened out. I wanted to go down there so bad, and I was pretty sure I could make it, but I didn't want to wreck it on the ground. On the ground. I was like, well, let me be smart about this. I still haven't done the review video. This no longer lines up with the music, but that's okay. I might really cut this down to end with the music there, because we're over 3 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna really chop this. Alright, let's, let me go back just a little bit here. I do want to leave that in to show how sharp the tune is. But that's all janky and shit in there. That's it. That's a good spot. We're gonna chop that there. I might just leave that as a cut, actually. Oh, or I could just fucking fade it out. Oh no, I do want to. This is fun. Landing micros in the back of the car is a cool. I think at least is a cool little flippity flop in the schlibbity schlab. I don't know. Words are hard. So what am I going through those trees there? Alright, so is there any point where I'm going through trees again? Other than there? I'm not going to be cutting much out. Let's just find... Oh, and I'm sitting on an angle this whole time? You dummy. What about there? What about if I chop it there? What's that going to look like? Yeah, alright. So that's where I'm gonna kill the song, and then I'll edit the video to the music. So it's gonna have to end right before that hit, which is right here. So we're gonna do this, and we are gonna have to, since we're changing the song, we're gonna have to add a transition so that it doesn't just end, because that would sound ridiculous. So we're just gonna put a little constant gain fade out here. The default is a full second. I don't think I quite want a full second. Let's try half a second. See what that sounds like. See, it's still a little bit too long. Like, you can kind of tell that I changed the song, which I don't like. Ugh, that's even worse. Damn. Let's try making it longer, just for the sake of argument. Let me get a little bit more of the song, just to hear how the, how it's flowing. What's the rest of it? What's the next measure? Yeah, see, then it comes up. It starts to crescendo, which I need to... Which I don't want in there. Fuck it, let's make it really short, see what it's like. I mean, no, see that's terrible. Let's just keep cutting it shorter and shorter and shorter. Maybe it'll make some sense at some point. Fuck. Well, what I can do is, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna work it with the, I'm gonna work on it with the command click. You can add keyframes, and I'm gonna add a level keyframe in here, and I'm gonna drop it down in 2 phases. Basically, we're gonna start to duck the audio down earlier, which is basically saying like, hey, this is the end of the song, and then this little constant gain fade out will bring it down the rest of the way. So we'll come down here, we'll drop it down by 10 dB. That might not be quite enough, but let's see what it's like. I almost don't. I fucking hate that Premiere does that. Especially because I didn't even change the out point. I don't think I need this constant this fade to 0 anymore. But I do need oh, I would love to add a little echo, but I don't necessarily know how to do that. I don't know how to, like, I would love to extend this a little bit with an echo. But what I can probably do is during the live stream review, just start talking over it at the end there, so that it's not quite so abrupt. So let me give it a little bit of volume here, and let's see. Damn you. Well, I am definitely going to push the end marker out. So where are we at here? We're at 3:18:29. I'm going to give it 3:18:29. Let's go to 3 21. 3:21. Where's 3:21? Come on, give me 3:21. There's 3:21. And so this is where I'm going to put my out marker so that it rolls. Why is it stopping at the end of the audio? I don't want you to stop at the end of the audio. I want you to keep going to the marker. I can, there's an easy fix to that. I can just grab anything, like an adjustment layer, for example, and pull that out to the end. Yeah, see, I need an echo. I need to echo that out a little bit. Well, let's figure out how to do an audio effect. Noise reduction, amplify, analog, and I'm now doing this under my face camera. Hello! But it's so small that I don't think you guys will be able to see anything. So if I put a delay, it's just going to put it on an existing audio file. Big Taters is leaving after incorrectly saying that 5G towers cause corona. June Loco is asking why his video goes out when he gives full throttle. That's probably a noise issue. Get your camera ground wire onto the same pad as your VTX ground wire, or power the camera from the VTX. Either one of those things should fix that problem. My very first 5-inch build did the exact same thing. Or it could be you could be browning shit out. Wait, your video goes completely away. And it does it with all different batteries, I'm assuming. Damn it, how do I get this to echo? How do I make a little... What do I need to do? Do I need to like make a little audio file? New item. New... Is there a way to make a little audio file? Adjustment layer, offline file, view hidden. June Loco, yeah, that's a tough one. It's either browning out or it could be a grounding problem. Is there noise in the video feed? If there's noise in the video feed, do what I said. Try to get your ground wires on the same exact pad or power the camera directly from the VTX's 5-volt output. Yeah, VTX could be bad. That's a possibility. New bin. What the fuck is a bin? Oh, look at that. New black video. That's cool. New graphic, HT bars and tone. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to duck this down a little bit more, and I'm just going to leave it. Oh, that sounds better. Now that I pulled that down a little bit more, that sounds a lot better. Okay, so let me pull this in, and that's it. We got our in marker, we got our out marker, and we chopped it down to 3 minutes 21. And I'm thinking I'm going to talk over a bunch of it, so cool. I think we're good to go. Let me just revisit this transition that I made here that wasn't rendering. Make sure it looks okay. Still not rendered. Great! Way to go. Okay, we got nothing. I mean, it's not even... Okay, let's delete it, and we'll do it again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And same thing here. 10. And then we're going to go to the cut point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. C for cut. Chop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Chop it. We're going to grab our 20 frame adjustment layer. And what are we thinking here? We're still rotating, and we're rotating. Yeah, so this was that rotation we wanted to do. So let's go here. Put this base preset on both of the video files, and then the adjustment layer is going to get a counterclockwise spin, and let's see what that looks like eventually. What's up, Big Willie? How are you? Let me see what else I might have missed in the chat here. Motor Matt just finished the 3-inch build. So far, so good. Just need to learn how to fly and tune. Don't worry about tuning. Just learn how to fly. In a perfect world, just fly for like a fucking year. To put like 1,000 batteries in and then learn to tune. Like until you're semi-decent at flying, the changes that you're going to make in the tune, your brain is going to play tricks on you, and you're going to chase your tail on the tune over and over and over again. Get the tune to a place where the motors don't get too hot, and it's not like atrocious, and then just fly. And the other nice thing about that is you're going to learn to fly around prop wash, and that's a really good skill to have, because that also makes tuning a lot easier. When you go crazy like I did on tuning really early on, you piss away a shitload of time trying to fix your prop wash, when in reality, if you just learned how to fly first, you wouldn't put the rig into situations where it would be prop washing as often, and then you wouldn't have to pull your hair out tuning as much. So just get mad stick time, Motor Matt. Get the Motor Matt. Get a tune that's like safe, maybe even just like the stock Betaflight tune, and just pound the shit out of that thing, man. Spend your money on batteries and replacement parts. That's gonna build you as a pilot a lot quicker than getting obsessed with tuning, as I can tell you from experience. Rob Axelson says, Emax Tinyhawks are great, except the receivers VTX and the older ones had crap for cameras. I'm not in love with this camera either. You can kind of see when the sun was starting to go down, it was really struggling. It's okay in broad daylight, but it's a nano camera, so I mean, what do you expect? It's tiny, it doesn't weigh anything. I think I'm good on the chat. If I missed your question, just tag me and hit it again. Wilder, I'll see if I can take a look tonight after the stream. Not tonight, maybe tomorrow. Tonight I want to watch some Westworld. Speaking of, I gotta get rolling on this. Why why are you refusing to render this? You fuck. Come on, man. Just try turning it off and on. Not yet, but I'm gonna. My sticker on my laptop is all weird. It's got like a big fucking bubble in it for some reason. I don't understand. I don't know if I saved enough of them. Great, it won't even quit now. Okay, well, maybe it'll take all night to quit, so let's do some shit to this. It's still trying. Alright, here we go. Here we go. So here's where we're at. We've got our RXSR antennas here. I still need to put a VTX antenna on. I did power this thing up and it didn't explode. Before I put this on though, I'm amazed that I'm remembering to put the heat shrink onto it ahead of time. I always forget this, and then I can't. You'll see why it's handy that I remembered that just now in a second. So piece of heat shrink on first. This antenna is already prepped. TrueRC is putting these two pieces of shrink wrap here, which is fantastic. I put one additional piece of shrink wrap up on the top here. There is a cap. There is a tiny little seam where my fingernail is. So if you put a little piece of shrink wrap here, it'll hold that cap on, which is pretty important. So definitely do that. I'm going to snap it on. Okay, so any shrink wrap that I want on here, I have to put on here. I'm going to put 2 pieces of shrink wrap because I want to hold this UFL onto the top of the VTX as hard as I can. So 1 and 2 pieces of shrink. One of them smaller than the other. Which one is it? That's the smaller one. Yeah, okay, so that's good. So now I've got 3 pieces of heat shrink, and you'll see why in but a second. There's the click that we all wanted to hear, and so this is what I'm using to run the antenna. Let me see if I can just run this thing straight up. I usually like to put it at an angle and then bring it back in, and yeah, that's for sure what I'm going to do here. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So I prefer not to just send the antenna straight up like that, because if it gets pulled, it pulls directly on it. What I like to do is rotate it down, and when you do that, you got to make sure it doesn't come unplugged. Kind of obvious, but yeah. Okay, so in order to do that, I got to put a little kink in the UFL, so let's do that real quick. All right, so the UFL is kinked, and now I can kind of rotate it down like that. Or maybe I'll go the other way. I think I'm going to go the other way. Yeah, I'm going to go the other way, and then I'll put a hard 180 in the UFL, and then I'll run it up to the TPU. So I lied. Because of the fact that I'm facing it down like that, I don't need to put this shrink wrap on early. Just the long piece that I want for the TPU. This will all make sense in a second, I promise. So, leaving one piece of shrink wrap, the one longer piece on. I'll show you why in a second. Okay, I'll show you why in a minute, not a second, because this is going to take a second. Then I'm going to rotate this downwards. And now that it's rotated downwards, I can take these other 2 pieces of shrink wrap and just drop them down on top. And they're going to get shrunk up here to hold the UFL to the top of the VTX there. So we got our first one. I just need to find the lighter. Okay, so let's move this one out of the way. So we got our first little piece of shrink there. Let's get that shrunk down. And just push it down as much as we can. By we, I mean me. All right, so that one's on there, and then I've got a second one here that I want to put on because you can't hold this on tight enough. Like this UFLs are great until they get yanked on really hard, and if you prep them properly, like I'm doing here, they're pretty resilient to being yanked on. If you don't prep them like this, it's gonna fail, and it's gonna fail in a hurry. They're not, yeah, they're either prepped and good or not prepped and gonna screw you over. There's no in between. Come on, stay down, you little jerk. See if I can kind of hold these tweezers with one hand and hold this thing down. Stop popping up, you jerk. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yes, 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 yes. Stay, stay. No, down there is where I want you and need you. Stay down there. Stay down there, you jerk. You guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I have to do this upside down. There we go. Thank you for staying, piece of shrink wrap. You are terrific. I love you. There we go. So that is held on pretty damn well by that shrink wrap. If I really wanted to, I could glop a little glop of glop in there. Welder in there. Farts. I got this shrink wrap a little bit hot there. I'll have to stretch that back out. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it with these two. It should be okay with them. I've had really good luck with just a couple layers of this rubbery shrink. Let's just get it, make sure it's totally shrunken down. All right, good to go. So now you'll get to see what this other piece of shrink wrap is for, which I'm just going to stretch back out now because I know I'm going to need to. So just gently, 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 just give it a little stretchy, and you can usually bring it right back. Okay, so this guy here, this little TPU file, it's not a TPU file, it's a Tpu Antenna Holder. I don't know where I got these from. I want to say that these are old CB3 Rotorius print files, but man, are they good. So here's what I was talking about. We have our antenna now, and it's held on there, and we're just going to bend it back upwards. UFL luckily bends really nice, and you know, I actually don't like that. I want to rotate it more. I want to rotate it to the side a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's what I want there. That's a little better. Yeah, that's a bit better. So now it's to the side a little bit more. We're going to put it into this little channel here. And then this extra piece of shrink wrap is going to pull down on it. Or is going to hold the little channel flush. So let's just get that kind of snapped in there. UFL is pretty damn durable. Like you can, like I can sit here with these pliers and kind of mold it into place like this. And see, there we go. That drops down on there. We'll shrink that down, and then we'll also put a little zip tie on there, because what's going to happen is eventually the head on this antenna is going to get hung up in a branch that this thing is blasting through, and it's going to pull. So we want to squish this down as hard as we possibly can, and sometimes I'll even put some contact cement, some welders in there as well, just to give it a little bit more resistance, because we don't want this to pull on the UFL if at all possible. So let's get that. Let's get this shrink down here. And if this, let me show you something. I'll shrink it first though. If you leave a little bit extra on this shrink wrap, it will give a little bit more love to this part of the antenna here. So when this antenna bends, it's not going to crease at this joint here. So that is pretty much as durable of a little antenna setup as I've been able to get. And what's the back of this thing? Red. So we're going to get a tiny little red zip tie. And we're going to make sure that the head part of the zip tie is on the bottom. And just wrap it around, and we're again just adding more pull to this part of the TPU to prevent the antenna from slipping when, not if, but when it gets pulled, because it will get pulled. I've lost quite a few antennas figuring this little system out. So yeah, it's not an if, it's a when. So there we go. Zip tie on it, and now this is not going anywhere. This'll damn near rip the TPU before the antenna slips and fucks up the UFL. So there you go, antenna tech with CiottiFPV. So now we just need to do the receiver antennas here, which I have running up the side of the RXSR, and I think I want to move them over. Actually, I think I want to sneak them sort of around here, so that they're on the inside. Yeah, that's That's what I want. That's what I want. There we go. So yeah, they come up the side, and then one's gonna go straight up, and the other one's gonna go out the back. Doesn't matter which is which. So let's get this one here. It's going to go at the back, and then this one is going to go up. This is an XT30 holder, but I don't like the XT30s in holders. I like to put them under the battery strap, so I just use it as a spot to put this vertical zip tie, which works really well. And just getting this fed up in here. There it is. Come on. Come on. All right, there we go. So we're just going to shrink those down, and it looks like the zip ties are long enough. That's a nice bonus. And I believe that will be it. I did the XT30. I did some other stuff. We'll go back. We'll jump back onto that edit in a second here. Now that it has finally closed. Just checking this. I got this zip tie that kind of holds this whole thing in. I also put some shrink wrap around these aluminum standoffs because I am pulling the VTX with, you know, exposed components into these metal bastards. All right, almost done. Some thin shrink wrap is what we need. I always use clear shrink wrap on these antennas in hopes that if they start to get chopped or do get chopped, I can see it. But it would appear that I have run out of clear shrink wrap that's big enough to do that with. I only have these tiny little skinny ones. God damn it. I don't think that these are... I don't think these are big enough. No, they're not, and I can't stretch them out. Alright, so it's going to have to be black. We're going to have to use black shrink wrap, and then it'll just be a mystery what's happening underneath. Okay, so let's measure this up. Measure it to the end of the zip tie. And here's a little thing that I like to do. When I measure that, I hold it up against the bottom beyond this thing. I hold it all the way up there. And then I take this guy and I stretch it a little bit. And I can usually stretch it just enough to put it over the big square part of the zip tie. And that just gives the zip tie a little bit more strength there where the skinny part of the zip tie starts. Somebody do me a huge favor and grab the time code. You guys can rewind somebody grab the time code of when this whole antenna section started and drop it in the comments for me, because I've been meaning to do a little antenna tech. I've shown this a couple times and people have asked for it, and I always forget where it is. And now I'll be able to say, hey, it's on Quaranstream 16, and there's a time code in the comments of the thing in the place. Speaking of, I'm always looking for people to do that. If you guys want to be, if any of you guys or all of you guys want to be superstars, the whole comment with time codes thing is incredibly helpful. And at some point, I would like to shorten down a bunch of these and like make some actual edits with these streams. And my God, would time codes in the comments help with that? So yeah, just kind of, just a little shill for you guys to help out. You don't have to, but you know, if you want to, you'll be a goddamn rock star. So there we go. See what I mean? Stretch it out a little bit, and it won't go over the whole thing. Not quite stretched out enough yet. This, I get the feeling that this is the shrink wrap that's a little bit too small to do this with. But I will keep trying for another second or two here. Chat says, is it an issue if you kink the antenna? It is not. If it gets cut, that's not good, but kinking is fine. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not good for it, per se, but I've been doing it forever, and I've never had an issue until they get cut. That's when the issue starts. But if you do everything I'm doing here, they shouldn't get cut, which is kind of the point. All right, so there we go. It's over that part a little bit. If I stretch it anymore, it's actually going to rip. I'm going to use the one size bigger shrink wrap on the other one here. Well, let me just try something real quick. Let me try to finagle this in here. Finagle this in here. Go down a little bit more, just a little bit more, and you'll be good. Come on, a little bit more, and all things will be perfect. Get down a little bit, and I fucking ripped it. Of course I did. Over it. Shrink it up. Don't shrink these super hard. Shrink these a little bit, and then stop. Shrink the tip of them really good. But don't shrink the whole thing super hard because it becomes a bastard to get off of there. Like legit, it becomes very, very, very hard to get off of there. And then the back, the antenna out the back, I always do long as shit because it just doesn't get in the way of anything. Like even when I have it on my bag, it's just not in the way. So yeah, leave it long. What the hell? It's only gonna help having it longer. Okay, got that, and I'm going to chop both the zip tie and the shrink wrap at once here. I'm trying to do this in a way that you guys will be able to see, although I guess it's not all that interesting. That's gone forever. So yeah, this is one size bigger on the shrink wrap, which will make stretching it a little bit easier because I still do have to stretch this one. I'm big on stretching shrink wrap. You guys will learn that about me. It's a trick that I learned somewhere, and it just really comes in handy more often than you'd think. All right, antenna on the bottom, shrink wrap going over here, and let's see if I made it big enough. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. Make sure the antenna isn't sticking out the end and shrink it down. All right. My God, why, like, is there something about Quaranstream and lighters that all the lighters are dying on the Quaranstream? God damn, son. If I only had a heat gun. Hold on. Getting the torch. Baby, you ready? Almost done. You almost ready for some Westworld?
Oh, I'm Legoing, so do whatever you gotta do.
Okay. Alright. Torching it.
He hasn't been on that long.
It's true. Alright, and I shrink that one down a little too hard, but whatever. So there we go. There's your Immortal L. This one, we can just kind of bend up a little bit more vertical. And so this is the other way that you get maximum separation between everything. You want to try to not have these three guys all on top of one another. So there you have it. That's how I run antennas. Are you worried about the VTX shorting on the carbon bottom plate? Remy Tim asks. I'm not. I've done this before. I made sure that when I soldered the wires on that they weren't, that they came straight out the front and that there wasn't any junk on the bottom there. So yeah, the bottom of this VTX has enough meat on it that it doesn't have any it's got enough separation between it and the components. So yeah, it's been fine. I've had a VTX standing up like this for a while. That's a really good point though. I can't believe I never even thought about that. Next time I do it, I'll just put a little tiny piece of VHB on the bottom there. I have it like really crammed in here now. But yeah, if it does blow up, I'll let you guys know because that's a really good thought. I plugged it in once and it didn't blow up, so in theory it's alright. I mean, I guess I could just like lift it up a little bit. I mean, no reason not to just boop. Oh yeah, it's easy to lift up. All right, I'm gonna throw a little piece in there. Good call, Mr. M. Good thinking, sir. All right, tiny little piece of foam, double-sided. It's not even VHB, but it's just something down there. Electric tape would also work. Electric tape would probably be the best, come to think of it. I should just do that, but I'm kind of already doing this. Alright, and we'll just slide this guy on in there. And we'll be good to go. I think I gotta lift it up just a little bit more. Okay. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this to the bottom of the VTX and then I'll just push the VTX down. So can't really do this in a way that you guys can see it, but let me just get it done. There we go. Okay, so we're good now. And bloop. Good to go. Good looking out, Mauer. You're a smart person. So yeah, we got that little kink going on there. The UFL is still stuck on there real nice. Or not. It looks like it came off on the side. What? Don't do that. Oh yeah, it was. It was coming off. Look at that. Jesus. Okay, so yeah, pay attention to that. This this shrink wrap is not holding on as hard as I would like it to. So let me do this. I'm going to get some of this plastic-based shrink, and I'm going to do a third level of shrink wrap on the top of that guy to really pull it as hard as possible. This plastic-based shrink wrap, when it hardens, or when it cools, it hardens, and it really holds on well. So I'll just take a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of this, and we'll just drop it on there. I want to get this, I would really like to get this plastic stuff in one size smaller than this, but I just keep forgetting. Would somebody from the chat mind looking up? So this is not poly. This is PVC, I think. I think this is considered PVC shrink wrap. So this is 40 by 23, 23 being the width. Can somebody see if they can find this in maybe like, let's say 15 millimeters wide or so on Amazon in like a little kit for cheap? Maybe maybe one of you lovely moderators so that you can then post the link in the chat for everyone, because having this plastic-based, I keep hitting the camera, having this plastic-based shrink wrap on hand is kind of important. It's really, really nice to have it. It performs completely different than the rubber stuff. And I'm just gonna like pre-shrink this a little bit and probably ruin it. Nah, we're good. All right, so the torch is going over there, so let's just sneak this in here like that. We're going to push it down as far as possible, and then shrink it all together. Pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down, and I know these seem like little things, but these are the little things that make a difference between you staying up in the air and constantly repairing your rig and constantly replacing antennas and VTXs because they fell out the back of the fucking thing. All these little subtle things make a big difference, believe it or not. And unfortunately, they take a long time to figure out. So having somebody that's put all the time in already to show you guys this is something I wish I had when I was starting out. But hey, all's well that ends well. That doesn't make any sense. All right, shrinking this up the rest of the way. Yeah, see, it doesn't shrink quite enough. Like it's so close, but it's just not quite there. Damn it. Yeah, I'm actually gonna take it out of there. It's just not shrinking up tight enough. It's not gonna do anything. And it's trying to pull the rubber shrink off. That's great. Thanks for that. Okay, starting again. Fart bag. Once more with feeling. One. Down. All the way down. Get on there. Get down there. Okay, that one's all the way down. I have some pre-cut ones over here, I think. Or did I use them all already? I bet you I used them all already. God damn it, Larry. Is this the right size? This is not the right size. The smaller the... I always try to use the smaller... the small shrink wrap that I find. And that's also why I love the whole stretching the shrink wrap thing, because you can stretch it and then it'll pull down even harder. Maybe that's what I'll do here. Maybe I will... Oh, yeah. That's totally what I'm going to do. Okay, so let me put this first one on. And then I'm going to stretch the next one. God damn it, the torch just ran out of gas. You fuck. Oh, the comedy of errors. Ugh. Okay, more fuel. Hey, now we're talking. Okay, so let's get this guy shrunken down. Shrink, you bastard, shrink. Whoop. Okay, let's get the back of it. And all right, so the first one is good. Now, this next one, I'm going to take a small piece And I'm going to stretch the bejesus out of it. All right, so I'm going to take a piece that's this small and I'm going to stretch it. So, and I would like it to be clear. If it wasn't clear a minute ago, I wouldn't have seen that UFL was unplugged. I tend to use clear shrink wrap just so that I can see what the hell's going on underneath it. Just as like a general rule. All right, so yeah, when you're stretching this, also make sure you flip it over because one side is getting stretched more than the other. And you just have to be gentle and you have to rotate it like that. You'll see that like when you stretch it, it gets thinner. So you got to rotate it so that the thick part is in the middle, and then you can stretch the thick part to be thinner. And see, there you go. And now that should be just big enough to get on here. Yep. And there it goes. So that is now going to shrink down nice and hard because I think the normal shrink ratio is like 3:1. So now that I stretched this out, it's going to be like a much higher shrink ratio than that. All right. And the other trick is just to make sure that it's pushed all the way down, because especially when you've got that UFL at an angle the way that I have it, it's going to want to, the shrink wrap is going to want to ride up on there. So make sure it's pushed all the way down and you'll be good to go. All right, so there we go. Now we're all set. It's not that I'm too cheap, Brian. It's that I just don't want another tool. The the lighters work perfectly well, and I just want one less thing plugged into the wall. I just try to keep things as streamlined as possible here. And plus, I just want to continue to make the joke of, man, it would be nice to have a heat gun right now, you know? Because what are they, like $8? It's like, I, anybody can afford a heat gun. It's just whether or not you want one. Same deal with, oh, what's the other thing that I refuse to get? No, there's something else that I refuse to get that, it's just the same deal. I just, if I can have one thing that does 10 jobs pretty well and saves me from having 10 individual tools and I'm not like suffering, then we cool. So there you have it. There is the absolute best 3-inch rig in the whole wide world. HD, Runcam hybrid, 10-ish to 1 power to weight. What else? Extremely durable, not super expensive to build. Tight, no wasted space, right? Like a little bit of wasted space here, but that's okay because that's gonna get keep airflow on the VTX, and it's just, yeah, this is it, man. This is the one. I'm gonna have pretty much 3 of these that are identical soon enough. The one of them is ready to go. I just gotta swap the tarsier out because I blew it up like a dum-dum. Here's what I was saying about putting some welder on top of these nuts just to make sure that they don't back out. This is kind of like the last step that I do. And just like the tiniest little bit, and just push, 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 push. You got to make sure that you're pushing it into the center so that it gets on the metal screw shaft. Otherwise, it'll just get on the plastic and it won't really do anything. Doesn't have to look good, just has to work. Pull this out of the way a little bit. Actually, I might glue this cable down with this stuff. That would not be a terrible idea. I'll think about it. And last one. Again, all these little things take time, but it's the difference between having something that's reliable and that you could fly 100 batteries straight on versus something that just keeps fucking falling apart, which with micros is a real problem. Micros have a real tendency to just like nickel and dime you to death, and like this, you know, one thing after the other just fails and fails and fails and lets go, and then a lot of people will just eventually kind of give up on micros, unfortunately. But I get it. I've kind of been there. myself. Titanium M3 hardware, just to shave every gram we can. I don't buy titanium hardware anymore, but I did early on, and now it's kind of like, well, I have it. Might as well use it. Only thing I don't like about it is it strips out. The Allen openings are a little bit bigger than with steel hardware, so the tools rotate a little bit more than normal, and then you just don't want to crank on them because you can very, very easily strip them out. Definitely don't use older, like worn down, beat up tools on these titanium M3 screws because that'll definitely strip them out. If you do strip them out, though, here's a top tip. Grab yourself an M or T8 star-headed bastard, not star-headed, what are these called? Torx bit. This Torx bit is usually a little bit too big for like steel hardware, but with the titanium hardware, it actually fits really good. So as soon as you strip one of them out, basically they become Torx because none of the Allens will grab them, but the Torx will. And the Torx actually grabs it really well. Like look at there's almost no play in the Torx bit on these guys. So if you need to crank any of these titanium M3s down, use a T8 or M8 or I don't know this Torx here. Come over here and grab it and use it. That's what you got to do. All right, so yeah, there we go, done. Let's throw it into. Well, let's jump back on the edit, and you see there's also a good amount of space on top here for the battery strap. So these are 28 millimeter tall standoffs, and the reason why for that height is the Runcam Hybrid. The Runcam Hybrid is 24 millimeters tall, and then when you put it at like a 20-30 degree angle, it takes another couple millimeters up. So the Runcam Hybrids you cannot fit under any smaller than a 28 millimeter standoff. You can see here it's really tight on the top there. It just perfectly fits in with the little cutout in the front of the top plate there. Again, very, very tight build. This on the if so for somebody that's not completely insane, what I would recommend for this build, if they manage to get one of these removable arm CB3s, is to not build it like I did with the arms on top of the base plate. If you put the arms below the base plate, you'll give yourself a bunch more stack height. This stack setup that I have here is pretty much as slammed as you're going to be able to get it. And this is a challenge. You have to have you have to have exactly the right washers and thickness, everything to be able to pull this off here. So for anybody else, I would recommend not putting these arms above the base plate here. Put the arms below the base plate. That'll give you a bunch more stack height. You absolutely have to do that if you're going to put the Tarsier, because the Tarsier is a double 20 by 20 stack. But even if if we can get these frames, my recommendation is not going to be to build this like me. This is kind of a pretty advanced way to build this damn thing, if I'm completely honest. Why do I have 4 screws in that one? That's interesting. I can't have it. I can't abide by 4 screws when there's only 3 on the other side and all 3 other motors. All right, now I feel better. So yeah, there it is. That's the oh, and what the hell is that back there for? Is this like stripped out or something? I put these screws in. Very strange. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. That one was also very loose. What the fuck is going on here? Who built this? Be skipping corners, man. Shit. She's doing weird stuff. Come on, get in there, dude. Are you too good for your home? There it is. All right, let's crank that down. Give it a little oompa. A little bit of oompa, a little bit of loompa. And let's crank the rest of these down while we're at it. Man, I've beaten the ever-loving shit out of this frame. This is one of the longer running prototypes that I've got here. These arm ends are all beat to shit. I should have replaced this arm. This was stupid. Why did I do that? Maybe I'll break it and then I can replace it. Alright, just cranking these guys a little bit. Just to make sure I tighten this stuff up. This build's been sitting for a while, so... Alright, so we're good. Stack hardware is tight. Let's check these arm bolts. Whatever, they're fine. It's fine. There you have it, ladies and germs. Well, I mean, no ladies since it's FP. Although maybe ladies. Is Jamie in here? She's not in here tonight. Just germs, then. Just us germs. That's okay. Oh my god! Back to the edit. Fuck. What time is it? 11:40. Okay. I'm not gonna finish this up. I've shown you guys my Betaflight setup a whole bunch of times. If you want to see it again, then just go eat donkeys. Memory card, and I use hot glue so that I can remelt it. Last top tip I'm going to show you guys tonight. And then we're going to jump back on that edit. Take your hot glue, get just one corner of it hot. Just one corner. Just want a little bit of it hot. Get it hot. It's going to get all melty. Turn off your torch, take that melty bit, and push it in between the memory card and the board. And release. And you'll just get a nice little glob between the memory card and the PCB. And that will hold your memory card in so that when you get into a big ass accident, you don't spit the memory card out into the grass. At which point you'll never, ever, 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 ever find it again. Let it dry, and then to pop the memory card out, you just peel it off, put the memory card back in, hit it with a lighter, and it glupifies and sticks to the PCB again. They do give you a little plastic thing with a little latch on it, but when you're building it this tight, you just don't have the room for that. And it only sits on the one side, so it makes the board sit sideways, and it's just not ideal. This is a much easier way to do it. There it be, my peeps. The end-all, be-all 3-inch. I'm going to do my best to figure out a way to get that frame into your guys' hands. I'm, I don't know. Oh, is that... I didn't know that, Braden. Okay, so the time code thing then has to be on... so Braden says the timestamp of a video section is a little rough to find during the live stream because it counts down. It can be found with subtraction, or click on the video stats for nerds under mystery text. The T field is the timestamp. Jesus, what a pain in the ass. In seconds, so you divide by 60 if you want one of your live mods who ever know there. Maybe there's an easy way. Good lord, what a pain in the ass. Okay, so then that means the whole timestamp thing is going to be on people that rewatch this. So if you rewatch this, do me a favor, if you remember, if you see when I'm starting to do like an antenna trick or whatever, look at the time code, drop it in a comment, just put like a little description, like shrink wrap tips and tricks or whatever, and then put the time code, 2 digits, the colon, 2 digits, and that'll become a clickable link. Grey Dog's asking if I'm going to put 4.2 on there. I am not. I am still putting everything on 4.1 because there are some unresolved things in 4.2. Namely, when you chop the throttle, there's a big-ass bobble that I have not been able to figure out how to get out of there, nor has... I've been working with Mark Spatz, UAV Tech, a little bit on that. And, like, we're not at a point where we're giving up yet. I actually need to get back to him with a log. But I'm just going to wait a little bit on 4.2. Motormat asks, what MAH 3 to 4S do you recommend for 173 gram 3-inch 1407 4100 kV? 173 all up. 3S I would say like a 3S 550. 4S I would say 4S 450. I think that's going to be good for you. Hey, Remy Tim, thanks for the 8. No excuses, go buy a heat gun. Never! I will spend your $8 on a cool gun. Too cheap to buy a heat gun. How dare you, Brian Ladmero? How dare you, sir? Okay, back to the edit. No more screwing around. Here we go. Oh, I gotta reopen it. Right. There it is. Here we go. Dave's FPV is going to sleep. I'm gonna fix it just for him. If you're still here, Dave's, see you tomorrow. Come on, Premiere. Get your shit in gear. Oh boy. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I have a feeling it was. Anybody else trim their fingernails with wire clippers? Or am I the only scumbag in here? Wow, Premiere, you're just hanging out, huh? We're just sort of taking our time tonight. Hey. Yeah. Lanuzo knows what's up. Yeah. Pixel Pusher asking how hard you can boost D term versus P term. Because of the D-min setup, you can go pretty hard on it. Oh god, that's loud. Yeah, I've been pushing my D terms up quite a bit, and then just keeping the D-mins under sort of control. All right, let's see if this wants to work. Won't even play now. Nope. What the fuck? Hey, okay, there it goes, there it goes. All I need to know is which direction it's going. So, all right, so everything is rotating top to the right, 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 and then that goes top to the left. Okay, so that's not good. So we do want clockwise. So let's come back in here to project, and you guys can't see this, but I promise it's not all that interesting. Project there, effects, presets, debrup, and we want to spin clockwise on this adjustment layer. Be good, Dan. Thanks for hanging, brother. Fucker, come on. Let's try it frame by frame again. All right, so let me just confirm. Spinning to the right, spinning to the right, spinning to the right, spinning to the right, spinning to the right more. And then it is rendering. And then this is spinning to the right as well. Okay, cool. So when it renders out, when it exports, it'll render that properly, and we'll be good to go. I think that's the only thing I was kind of questioning, right? This one was fine. Nothing's gonna... Rendering the previews is very, very difficult. And sometimes it does a better job than others. Yeah, okay. That one looks good. What is there? One more? Yeah, there's one more. Let's just double check that one. That's a zoom in, it looks like. Yeah, that one looks good. All right, we're good. All right, I think that's it. I'm not going to bother playing this again unless you guys really want to see it again. And we got audio track 1 muted. That's good. Video 1, 2, and 3 are... Okay, yeah, we're good. Save it one more time, and I'll just fast forward through it a little bit. Really? It wasn't given the... So you guys had no audio that whole time? God damn it. Sorry, guys.
And now after all of these years, I still give you everything. In the meantime, the clock is running quicker.
Well, you got a little bit of audio there. Fucking Premiere, they have to do they have to do things in their own weirdo way. They control their audio output through the goddamn preferences. It's a fucking nightmare. Oh God. Yeah, I mean that's what non-HD looks like. I also have it at half quality because I don't think the computer will handle full quality. Let's see. Actually, I'm curious now. Oh, not bad. I guess it's because there's so few pixels to begin with that it's it can handle. You should have seen it when. Well, here, look at this. To give you some ideas, to give you guys some idea of the difference between GoPro and non-HD quality, like the FPV that we fly through. This is what. So the project is scaled. The size of this viewfinder here, the black, is scaled for GoPro, and at 0 zoom, this is what that looks like. So the GoPro would fill all this black up, but what we're flying through is only that big. I have to blow it up 450% to get it to where it's roughly the same size as GoPro, to give you guys some idea of the difference in the number of pixels between one and the other. All right. So that's it. I'll export that overnight. I will upload that. And wait, actually, let me undo and undo. And that's where I want to save it. Okay. So yeah. That's good to go. This quad is good to go. It's 11:53 and I want to go watch Westworld. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Let's come back here. Any last minute questions? Hurry, hurry, hurry. Hopefully I'll get the review stream up tomorrow. That'll be cool. I got to do I got to make a thumbnail. I'm going to make a quick bullet point list, and I guess that's it. I'm going to upload this I'm going to upload this edit to YouTube and put it into the Patreon only playlist as a patron thing, and then on the stream I'm going to go in there on the review stream. I'm going to play it through YouTube because that's just the smoothest way for me to play it, and that'll actually give me a chance to that'll be a good little segue to talk about the Patreon real quick. And yeah, should be good to go. All right, no last minute questions. It doesn't look like Lanuzo. Yeah, it won't need overnight to render. It'll render in like a half an hour, but I just do it overnight for the sake of doing it overnight. I'll get this thing up in the air tomorrow, and maybe have some flight footage to share, or some it catching on fire footage to share. You never know. Be good, guys. I will see you tomorrow for Quaranstream number 17. Tell all your friends. Share this link in any groups if you don't mind. Let's keep growing this thing. It's we've really hit a hell of a plateau here that I'm not quite sure what the deal is with. So yeah, if you guys don't mind, just share the channel with anybody you think might dig it, or any of your local groups, and let's keep it growing, because the bigger we get this, the more stuff I can test. And right now, most of the budget from this goes towards the giveaways, and I want more of the budget to go towards testing stuff. I want to be able to buy all the micromotors and just test them all head to head, and then when I'm done with them, I'll give them away. So yeah, keep it going. You guys rule. Thanks for hanging. Links, buttons, do whatever you want. Be good. Later. See you tomorrow.